Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a massive deep dive into Parashat Vayechi. That's the very final portion of the book of Genesis. And we're going to be looking at a completely fascinating, honestly kind of shocking physical anomaly in the actual layout of the Torah scroll.
Absolutely. We're going to use the Zohar to decode exactly what is happening just beneath the surface of this text, because there is so much more going on here than meets the eye. Let's get right into it.
So here is our system diagnostics menu for today. We're covering 1. The sealed scroll mystery. 2. System logs, the tech analogy. 3. Mechanics of concealment. 4. Mapping the Sephirotic network. 5. Level design and cosmic engineering. And finally, 6. The hidden light of the Pardes.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the sealed scroll mystery, the illusion of the end.
Okay, so we're entering Jacob's final moments on Earth. This is a huge, pivotal transition for the tribes of Israel, right? And the text itself does something entirely unexpected. The Zohar asks a foundational question right at the start of this section. It quotes the verse, "And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt," and immediately asks this famous question, Amai parashata da satima? Why is this section closed? Right, and to understand why that's such a big deal, you have to know that practically every other section in the Torah has a physical gap. There's a blank space before it begins, giving us a visual break in the scroll. But here, literally nothing. The letters just run straight in. The text is completely sealed. It's a closed loop.
I want you to picture this almost like a cinematic scene. Think of a rich 4K heritage scene where the narrative itself is closing up, just like a tightly sealed ancient scroll. The light is visibly dimming as Jacob's physical life comes to an end. The eyes of Israel are gradually closing.
You can practically feel the shadows of the impending Egyptian exile creeping into the frame. It's dark, it's heavy. Yet, and this is the absolute crucial point of this entire explainer, beneath that creeping darkness, beneath the surface level of the text, there is a continuous, unbroken river of life that never truly stops flowing. It's hidden, but it is entirely active.
Which brings us perfectly into Section 2, System Logs. The tech analogy, background operational states.
To really wrap our heads around this ancient mystical anomaly, it actually helps to use a very modern framework. So let's talk about the concept of SOD, which translates to secret. Think of SOD literally like a technological background mode. Yeah, like when a system enters an encrypted or restricted state. To the user, meaning us, looking at the scroll, it might look like the screen has just gone totally dark, or the app has completely closed out. But internally, the background process is running flawlessly. There is absolutely no visible break in the system logs, but the operations are continuing invisibly. The text is closed off to the user, sure, but the system itself is very much alive.
Exactly. So externally, there's this massive illusion of an ending. You have the visual closure of the narrative text, you have the physical passing of Jacob, and this seeming cessation of all activity. It looks, for all intents and purposes, like a complete system pause. But internally, that background processing has completely taken over. What's actually happening is a hidden continuity of Jacob's life force. It's a fully encrypted spiritual transmission that is flowing directly into the exile, maintaining an unbroken operational flow. That physical closure in the scroll, it's essentially just a screensaver hiding the real work.
Moving on to Section 3. Mechanics of concealment. These are the exhaustive explanations straight from the Zohar. Let's break down the exact, specific reasons the Zohar gives for this physical anomaly. The text provides 3 massive, simultaneous shifts to explain why the text is closed. First up is the concealment of vision. The eyes and hearts of the people of Israel are literally and spiritually gradually closing as Jacob departs. They're losing that direct line of sight.
Right.
And second is the activation of din, which means harsh judgment. This is the official, unavoidable onset of the Egyptian exile and those brutal cycles of enslavement. The text physically closes in on them, visually mirroring how the reality of exile is closing in around them.
But then we hit the third reason, and this is the most vital one: hidden continuity. Despite the closing eyes, despite the harsh judgment, there is a seamless transmission of Jacob's life force that survives completely secretly in Egypt. The closure of the text isn't an accident, it's armor. It protects that transmission.
Let's take this a level deeper in Section 4, Mapping the Sephirotic Network, the Anatomy of Concealment.
Okay, we are going to densely pack these mechanics right onto the Kabbalistic tree of life to see exactly how the universal system handles this shift. Let's track the Sephiroth during this closed, encrypted state. First, Bina, which is the realm of understanding, becomes concealed, and its emanation shifts directly toward din, or judgment. Then we have Tiferet, the Sephirotic representing Jacob himself. Tiferet maintains his unbroken life flow, but it's now operating as a completely hidden white light. Below that, Yesod acts as the concealed channel. It's the secret transmission cable for that light. And finally, Malchut represents the physical Egyptian exile state itself. Malchut is bearing the absolute brunt of the concealment, manifesting in the deepest, darkest red of judgment.
And the paradox happening here is just profound. The color codes the Zohar uses are vital to understanding this. The red represents the intensifying din, the harsh, restrictive judgment of the exile. But the white represents rachamim, which is mercy.
The absolute genius of the system is that the red of judgment actively masks and protects the white life force of mercy. That white light is what's sustaining the continuity beneath the closure. The judgment is literally serving as a protective shelf for the mercy.
Now let's quickly decode the primary numbers associated with this cosmic state. The number 3 represents the 3 exhaustive interpretations of the text closure that we just covered: the loss of vision, the onset of judgment, and of course that hidden continuity.
Following up on that, the number 7 symbolizes the cycles of exile. It represents the lower 7 Sephirotic being drawn all the way down into the Egyptian darkness, facing the harsh physical reality of the enslavement.
And finally, the number 10. 10 indicates the complete hidden wholeness of the system. Think about it. Despite the visual closure of the scroll, despite the darkness of the exile, all 10 Sephirotic remain completely whole and totally intact. The system is entirely uncompromised, even when it's forced to operate in the dark.
All right, Section 5, Level Design and Cosmic Engineering, Multi-Generational Lenses.
Let's bring this deep Sephirotic mapping back down to Earth with some modern analogies, just to prove how incredibly relevant these ancient mechanics still are today. You can think of it in 2 ways. First, the video game version. Imagine you're playing a game and you hit what looks like the absolute end of the map. The screen goes dark, but the level hasn't actually ended. The gameplay just seamlessly continues in a hidden mode with severely reduced visibility. You suddenly have to navigate the Egyptian exile without the minimap. You are definitively playing on hard mode.
I love that. And then there's the cosmic engineering version. Picture a universe-scale system entering a highly concealed operational state. The external server appears to be paused. Jacob passes away, the actual text in the scroll closes tightly. But internally, the servers are still humming. It's actively processing, maintaining the vital continuity of the entire network while completely hidden from the front-end user.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, Hidden Light of the Pardes, the ultimate takeaway.
Let's bring this entire deep dive analysis to its ultimate conclusion and uncover the hidden light of the Pardes. Pardes refers to the 4 levels of ancient textual analysis, culminating right here in the deepest mystical secrets. The crucial, life-changing point we want you to take away today is that the closed nature of this section is merely an illusion of an end.
Exactly. Concealment is not an end. The transition from the red of din to the white of hidden rachamim proves definitively that the operational state never ever stops. The white light of mercy is always running in the background, even when the text gives us literally no space to breathe. The system is always on. So as we wrap up, ask yourself, when it feels like the narrative of your own life has abruptly closed, what background processes of hidden mercy are silently running just beneath your surface?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.